To share a free mind, if we could come up on this, it is really a mysterious flower. Why has man not got this thing? Fear. Living is not living. Words taken for substance, wastage of energy. The mature mind has no comparison, no measure. The validity of the life that you lead every day without understanding it, if you will never understand love, beauty, or death. Through negation, that thing which alone is the positive comes into being. Freedom. It would be rather interesting and worthwhile if we could share together a mind that is not tortured, that is fundamentally free, that has no barriers, that sees things as they are, that sees that an interval of time separates man from nature and from other human beings, that sees the meaning of dreadful, frightening time and space, that knows what is really the quality of love. If we could share this, not intellectually, not in a most cunning, elaborate, philosophical, metaphysical way, but actually partake of it, if we could do that, I think all our problems would end. But this sharing is not with another. One must have it first. Then when you have it in abundance. And when there is this abundance, the one and the many are the same. Like a tree that is full of leaves, of which one leaf is perfect and is part of the whole tree. If we could this evening share this quality, not with the speaker, not by having it and then sharing it, then the question of sharing it would no longer arise. It is like a flower full of scent which doesn't share, but is always there for any passerby to delight in. And whether anyone is very near in the garden or very far away, it is all the same to the flower, because it is full of that perfume, and so it is sharing with everything. If one could come upon this, it really is a mysterious flower. It only seems mysterious because we are so full of emotion and sentiment in that emotional sense has very little meaning. One can have sympathy, be generous, be very kind, gentle, and extremely polite, but the quality of which I have been speaking is entirely different from all this. And don't you wonder, not in abstract terms, nor according to something to be gained by a system, by a philosophy, or by following some guru. Don't you wonder why it is that human beings lack this thing? They beget children, they enjoy sex, tenderness, a quality of sharing something together in companionship and friendship and fellowship. But this thing, why is it that we haven't got it? For when is it that all problems, whatever they may be, come to an end? And haven't you wondered lazily on occasion when you were walking by yourself in a filthy street, or sitting in a bus, or when you were on holiday by the seaside, or in a wood with a lot of birds, trees, streams, or wild animals? Hasn't it ever come upon you to ask, why is it that man, who has lived for millions of years, why is it that he hasn't got this thing, this extraordinarily unfading flower? If you have asked this question, even out of casual curiosity, you must have had an inkling, an intimation, a hint, but probably you have not asked it. We live such a monotonous, dull, sloppy life within the field of our own problems and anxieties that we have never even asked this question. And if we were to ask this question of ourselves, as we're going to do now, sitting under this tree on a quiet evening with the noise of the crows, I wonder what would be our reply. What would each one of us honestly give as a direct answer, without equivocation or conning? What would be the answer if you put this question to yourself? Why do we go through all this excruciating torture, with so many problems, with multitudinous fears piling up, yet this one thing seems to go by, seems to have no place at all? And if you were to ask why one has not found this quality, I wonder what would be your answer. Your answer would be according to your own intensity in asking that question and its urgency. But we are neither intense nor urgent, and we are not urgent or intense because we haven't got the energy to look at anything, a bird, a crow sitting on a branch preening itself, to look at it with all your being, with all your eyes, ears, nerves, mind, and heart, to look at it completely requires energy. But not the shoddy energy of a dissipated mind that has struggled, that has tortured itself, that is full of innumerable burdens. And most minds, 99.9% recurring of minds, have this terrible burden. This tortured existence. And so they have no energy, energy being passion. And you can't find any truth without passion. That word passion is derived from the Latin word for suffering, which again derives from Greek and so on. From this suffering, the whole of Christendom worships sorrow, not passion. And they have given passion a special significance. I don't know what significance you give to it. The feeling of complete passion with a fury behind it, with total energy, that passion in which there is no hidden want. But if we were to ask, not just with curiosity, but with all the passion we have, then what would be the answer? But probably you are afraid of passion, because for most people passion is lust, passion that is derived from sex and all that. Or it may come from the passion that is felt through identification with the country to which we belong. Or passion for some mean little god, made by the hand or by the mind. And so to us, passion is rather a frightening thing, because if we have such a passion, we do not know where it will take us. And so we are very careful to canalize it, to build a hedge around it through philosophical concepts, ideals, so that energy, which is demanded in order to solve this extraordinary question, and it is quite extraordinary if you put it to yourself honestly, directly, why we human beings who live in families with children surrounded by all the turmoil and violence of the world, why, when there is one thing that could cover all this, why it is that we haven't got it. I wonder, is it because we really don't want to find out? Because to find out anything there must be freedom. To find out what I think, what I feel, what are my motives. To find out not merely to analyze intellectually, but to find out there must be freedom to look. To look at that tree, you must be free from worry, from anxiety, from guilt. To look, you must be free from knowledge. Freedom is a quality of mind that cannot be got through renunciation nor sacrifice. Are you following all this? Or am I talking to the winds and the trees? Freedom is a quality of mind that is essential for seeing. It is not freedom from something. If you are free from something, that is not freedom. It is only a reaction. If you smoke and you give up smoking and you say, I'm free, you are really not free, although you may be free from that particular habit. Freedom concerns the whole habit-forming machinery, and to understand this whole problem of habit forming, one must be free to look at its mechanism. Perhaps we are afraid of that freedom too, and therefore we put freedom far away from us in some heaven. So fear is perhaps the reason why we have not the energy of that passion to find out for ourselves why that quality of love is lacking in us. We have everything else: greed, envy, superstition, fear, the ugliness of a shoddy little life, the routine of going to an office every day for the next 40 to 50 years. Not that one shouldn't go to an office. One has to, unfortunately, but it becomes a routine. And that routine, that going to the office, doing the same thing day after day, for 40 years, shapes the mind, makes it dull, stupid, or clever in only one direction. It may be, probably it is, that each one of us is so frightened of life, because without understanding this whole process of living, we can never possibly understand what it is not to live. You understand? What we call living, the daily boredom, the daily struggle, the daily conflict within oneself and outside of oneself, the hidden demands, the hidden wants, the ambitions, the cruelties, and the enormous burden of conscious or unconscious sorrow. That is what we call living, don't we? We may try to escape from it, go to the temple or the club, follow a new guru, or become a hippie, or take to drink, or join some society which promises us something. Anything to escape. In fear lies a major problem of what we call living. Fear of not being, fear of being attached, with all the great pain it brings. How to be detached, whether there is physical, emotional, psychological security. The fear of that, the fear of the unknown. fear of tomorrow, the fear of your wife leaving you, the fear of having no belief in being isolated, lonely, in despair at every moment, deep down. This is what we call living, a battle, a tortured existence with barren thoughts.